Hello there, I'm Chef Johnny and this is Texas Style Barbecue and Cuisine. Glad you stopped by. Today we have some New Mexico Hatch chilies. We're going to show you how to cook those down and make a great big burrito with a red chili sauce from New Mexico chilies. So stick around, see how we do it. Very first thing I'm going to do is starting this is I'm going to make my red chili sauce. So I have my Vitamix mixer. I have one of these down on my Amazon store. If you've never used a Vitamix, don't know what you're missing. They are excellent products, but have it right there. Don't see these chili peppers I'm using. They are Hatch Chile Peppers, and they are quite flavorful. You can really only get them about once a year. When they harvest in New Mexico, they send them out. If it's an off time, and Anaheim is the same species of pepper. The difference is where it's grown. They're grown in Anaheim, California, and these are grown in Hatch, New Mexico. Got about 10 peppers in there. I'm going to pour the juice that came off of them. And I do have a video that you can look at to see how we soften these up and how we render them. I'll put a link down below. It's just how to rehydrate dried chili peppers. And I'm going to take, half, 3/4 of a cup of the juice that cooked off of those in there with it. I'm going to see if we can start blending these up. Now on top of that, I'm going to take about a cup of chicken stock. And I'm going to tell you right now, before everybody starts yelling, you're going to go, that's not authentic New Mexico, and somebody else is going to holler. Anyways, if you look, there are all kinds of recipes. Some have chicken stock, some don't. Some just have the pepper, pretty much salt, pepper, maybe a little bit of garlic. Others have coriander and cumin, and they have some fresh garlic and some powdered garlic. So there's all kinds of recipes for New Mexico chili sauce. This is just one of them that I happen to have and use and like, and it works very good. It's very flavorful. So I do realize there's a lot of different ways to make this, and people are very proud of their other peppers and their recipes. But this is just one of the many ways that people make red chili sauce. All right. So now that we have the disclaimer going, we've got them put the lid back on it, blend it a little more. And I'm going to add about 6 cloves of fresh garlic to it. If you wanted to just put the whole cloves in there, these were ran through a garlic press, but you could just put them in there and let your blender mix it up for you. And I'm going to put maybe a teaspoon of coriander. These were toasted coriander seeds, and we just put them in a coffee mill, ground them up. And I'm going to put maybe a teaspoon of cumin in there. Not a whole lot, just a little bit where you can taste that it's there. Just blend in. Next thing I'm going to add is I got some white onion. I'm going to take it and, maybe a half cup. Drop it into my sauce. Now, at this stage of the game, you've got it blended well. There's 2 different things you could do. You could pass it, if you wanted a nice silky smooth, you could pass this through a sieve or a chinois, something very fine, get any particulates that are in there out, or use it like it is. This Vitamix blends it up really well. I think it's smooth enough. I'm not going to pass it through a strainer, but if you wanted to, you could strain it to make even a smoother, silkier sauce. What we're going to do now is we're going to start making our sauce. We're going to thicken it up some. I've got about, I'd say 3 tablespoons of flour, and we're just going to make a roux. We want to get the raw flour taste out of this. If you take a little darker, it's going to put a richness in your sauce that you wouldn't have. So just kind of your idea of how you want it, but the darker this gets, maybe a little smokier flavor. Add our chili sauce. We're just going to stir in our roux. This is fairly thick already, but I'm going to add some more chicken broth to it. So I'm going to work that roux into our sauce real good. And right now, you could use this for an enchilada sauce. I mean, it would work great. I'm going to add some chicken stock. And remember, it won't thicken until it comes to a boil. So we can add our chicken stock. About a cup. Stir that in, bring this to a boil, and we should have a nice thick sauce again. Now this is starting to boil, so it should start thickening again. As the flour mixes in with that liquid, it'll get thick and start swelling up, and we'll have a nice rich sauce here. Give it a little taste. Oh yeah, tastes real good. Only thing this needs is a little salt, so I'm gonna take maybe a half a teaspoon. Put that in there. Remember, you can always add, you can't take out, so stir that in. You can use the rest of that salt. 9 out of 10 times, if you taste something, you go, oh, that needs something, it's salt or it's acid. So this time it was salt we needed. Move this off to the side, let it stay warm. We're going to set up the Blackstone griddle, show you how we get the burrito going. What we're going to do now is we're going to start cooking our meat. We just have some asada here. It's been seasoned up with fajita seasoning. And y'all, if y'all saw my carne a la mexicana, y'all can see how I make this. Just take a cheap cut of meat, cut it up small so that it's tender. Make sure you get across the grain. And we're just going to start cooking this down. Flip this over. You can tell this griddle's nice and hot. It's starting to cook already. Now I'm going to drop some pico de gallo right on top of it. Good little amount of cilantro, onions, tomato, jalapenos. And this meat, after we chopped it up, what we did was it's been marinating just with some Boulder's brand Fiesta fajita seasoning. So it's been sitting in it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just soaking in the flavors. Well, that's finishing cooking. I'm just going to add some refried beans here on the other side of the griddle. I've got a recipe for my refried beans, and again, I'm just kind of chopping them up here. Add me a little oil to my griddle. Traditionally, you would fry refried beans in lard. I'm going to take some of my red sauce we made a while ago. It's just sitting here and staying warm, and I'm going to drizzle a little bit of it on this meat. Let that cook in. And that is adding a ton of flavor to this meat. Move this back over to this side. Gonna clear me a spot to heat up my big burritos, tortillas that I had to make my burrito with. Now I'm going to get my tortilla down, start getting it hot. You can tell when a tortilla is starting to cook up pretty good. You'll see where that tortilla starts puffing up. Starts puffing up, you know it's about ready. You can flip it over and then get it ready to go. See the little puffs in it? Just pick it up and turn it over. That looks pretty. See, we've got a little bit of browning. I'm going to take some of my beans and I'm just going to spread them not quite in the center, a little bit off center here. Across my tortilla. Some of my asada. A little fresh onion. A little bit of cheese. I want this to it's starting to get hard. I'm going to pick it up. While I roll this and make it, I'm going to just set it on my Blackstone cutting board. That'll keep it from getting too crispy on me where it's not pliable anymore, but that's on. fresh onion, cheese. And you got to be careful. These really do grow on you, so you can get way too much in them real fast if you're not careful. Little lettuce, little tomato. Now I'll take my tortilla and fold up the edges. Fold this over, and when you fold it, roll it over, you want to tuck it and kind of draw all that back in right there, and then roll it up the rest of the way. Now we have a burrito that everything's not going to fall out of. Set it down. Let that start crisping. We're going to roll it over. Let this side cook for a second. Get a little crunch on this side also. We're going to serve this with the seam down. So we got the right side down, right side's up. I'm going to take my red sauce, sprinkle it across the top. That is pretty right there. And we want plenty of melted cheese up on top of this. Let's go right here. Just going to add a little water around the outer edge so I can get some steam going. Cover that, help melt our cheese. All right, there we go. We have some nice melted cheese. That is looking beautiful. That's a pretty looking burrito. We're gonna put a little sauce on our plate. That beautiful New Mexico red chili sauce, and I'm gonna pick this up just with my spatulas onto my plate. I want to get this cheese that's down here. Oh yeah. Put that on there. Just garnish this. I'm going to put some nice fresh cut onion up on top. It'll be a little texture, it'll be a little color. Put that up there where it looks pretty. Let's see if we can slice this burrito up real quick. Oh, I tell you what, it is going to taste great. I bet you it looks beautiful. Oh yeah. Look at that. That burrito looks beautiful. Let me, I'm going to cut off a piece and see if I can take a bite. It's going to be messy. Tell you that. Get my fork here. Give this a try. Whew, it's hot. Let me tell you, that is cheesy delicious. That is a good burrito. That red sauce is tremendous. It is just packed full of flavor. Those New Mexico chilies did a great job. Our cheddar cheese melted on top, pico de gallo. Whole recipe works good together. Remember to check out my other videos that I recommended in here. Show you kind of how to rehydrate the peppers, how to cook this asada the way we do it, the total method. I've got videos on both those. But this is great. It's fantastic. Hope you enjoyed this fantastic burrito as much as I did. Just remember, slice your meat thin, season it well, get it on the griddle, get you a nice big tortilla, make you some burritos because these are fantastic. Thanks for stopping by. Tell your friends and family about us. Always do appreciate that. Share us on your social media, and we're going to see you down the road on Texas-style barbecue and cuisine.
How them boys put food away beats all I've ever seen.